Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here, rocking the new KW Elite hat. We're bringing you another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top-minded individuals in the space, broker owners, team leaders, market leaders, etc. And we're really excited today. We have a guest that goes back a ways for me, Mr. Adam Roach. When I first met Adam, what's up, dude? Welcome to the podcast today, Adam.
Your hat looks good, buddy. Like that hat.
Hey, just got it today. Brand new.
Gotta get me one of those.
You know, I've got a few now I get to pick from. It's like, what's your pleasure? For anyone watching, we do stream these live. Sorry, not live, but we have the video recordings on YouTube. For anyone that only listens on iTunes or Stitcher, if you ever want to see our bald heads, Adam and I are both rocking out today.
There we go.
Feel free to go check those out on YouTube. Just search Elite Real Estate Systems or the Team Building Podcast. But super excited today. Adam has an amazing company that he has built that helps with recruiting, not just for real estate agents, but other industries as well. He'll get into that here in a minute. But I did first meet Adam. We're both like-minded individuals trying to level up in our lives, and we met in an organization called Go Abundance, which I know a lot of you are familiar with. I just remember hitting it off with him right from the get-go. He has a great personality, you know, super high energy, high D, I'm sure just like me, probably a high I as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so, I'm glad you went that way, Jeff, real quick, versus saying we met in the hot tub in Tahoe. So we'll leave that for the side story, right?
Did we meet in the hot tub? I couldn't remember. That's awesome.
Or the hot tub at the top of the mountain when we were, snowmobiling. Remember that time when we all tried to tackle you and I think we all lost? Yeah, that was bad.
Oh, yeah. You were part of that?
I was definitely part of that.
Everyone had this great idea that they'd try to tackle me down. I think I threw 12 guys to the ground. It's tough, man. I'm a big dude with a big base, and I had my feet planted in the snow. Nobody knew. That was my trick. No one could get me down.
Yeah, we lost.
I was tossing you guys like 4-year-olds. Pop, pop, pop. Adam, talk to my audience. We tell everyone, we promise anyone that listens and gives us their time, we'll have about 20 minutes here to download. Every time you come to this podcast, you're going to leave with something new. And Adam is going to deliver today. It's all going to be focused on recruiting. I told him to come prepared with the 3 top recruiting strategies for team leaders, broker owners, trying to go after agents. But outside of that, which is the cliche, what are some other things that you guys are doing? Talk about your company, how people can learn more about what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. So super excited. We are rebranding. We're relaunching a new platform called I Love Recruiting. How ironic, right? It'll be iloverecruiting.com. It should be live in the next, hopefully 72 hours to maybe 4 or 5 more days. And Jeff, what we've done over the last 6 years, I created a system called Recruiting Bridge. And I did that back in 2015. And the cool part about it, at that time, I was a team leader for Keller Williams. And I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and I just moved here, and I didn't know a single soul. And so, number one, I didn't know many agents, if at all. And number two, I'm not an organized person, man. I need people all around me to handle all of my organization. And so this is a funny story. This is a no-kidding story. Would whiteboard ideas, would flow out ideas all day long. And I started coming up with this concept of how do I help my agents build their profit share trees inside of Keller Williams and have them send me leads at the same time. And then every time I follow up with that lead, they get notified. So they can see actually that I'm doing the hard work, right? And so I whiteboarded this. I had the concept. I called an old buddy of mine who lived in Southern California, who I know is a programmer who actually owed me a huge favor because he crashed one of my cars when we were younger. And I paid for the whole thing. And I was like, dude, I think you develop this. He's like, sweet. So he built it. He built Recruiting Bridge, and that's how it was formed. So check this out. That was 2015, Jeff. We're 2020 now. At the end of 2019, we'd helped over 72,000 agents come into KW. 72,000.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. Wow. 72,000 people who have joined KW have come through your Recruiting Bridge software. It's software. It lives in a cloud.
It does.
So talk about how it works. I don't sell out. There's podcasts out there that'll sell out. I get nothing. Adam and I have no agreement. I get nothing. I am going to ask for him to help me get a platform set up because I've heard amazing things about this. But I would like you to talk more about the platform, but then help us understand outside of the platform, how can we build it on our own? And it kind of goes back to like Sisu that we use for metrics tracking. We built it in Excel. Everyone that follows us can build their own in Excel, but geez, why would you when you could just go pay a nominal fee to have somebody who has already built it for you? And I'm guessing that's kind of the direction this is going to go.
Correct. Yeah. So what we've done is I'll come back and answer that question real quick. So we've taken that. So we have Recruiting Bridge, which is inside of KW. We also have what's called Exceed, XCED.io, which is the white label version of it. So inside, and then we've also gone into the Chamber of Commerce world, and it's now called Chamber Scout. And so the idea, Jeff, is that it literally is a CRM communication platform that allows you, if you are a recruiter of whatever industry, to keep yourself organized. You also have the ability to communicate with any of your leads. So whether that's email or whether that's texting or whether that's a dialer that's already built in. But if we just stay in the real estate world, let's just stay there for a second. Right now, as we are growing any of our companies, right, regardless of brand, as we're growing any of our companies, your biggest opportunity is leads. Would you agree? Yeah, we got to get leads.
Of course.
We have to have leads. In real estate, you have to have leads. You either buy leads or you get them from your database. In your office is your database. So what we teach people to do through I Love Recruiting, because we're getting ready to launch a podcast that'll be called I Love Recruiting. We'll have a small little coaching platform that'll teach people how to recruit. We'll have all of our systems. You guys can download all of our systems on the how to recruit. It'll all be through iloverecruiting.com. But going back to leads, we figured that if the recruiter will not go into his or her database, which is the agents, then we need to help them generate leads. And so right now, Jeff, we are generating anywhere between 200 to 300 recruiting leads a month all over the country of people that are raising their hand saying, hey, I want to learn more about real estate because I've watched it on HGTV, or I'm in real estate school right now, or at the end of the day, we do have the unicorns that are raise their hand and say, hey, listen, I'm a $5 to $10 million producer. And I don't like my brokerage.
Right.
So they come to us and we
perfect. All right. So we're all in agreement. Leads is the fuel to any organization. When it comes to recruiting, the lead is the person we're looking for that's going to help us. Obviously, we use our agents. That's probably the best source to go get recruiting leads. So let's get into the 3 pieces of content that all of us listening today could start implementing right now to generate more leads for recruits, for our real estate teams and our brokerages.
Right. So number 1, Jeff, it goes back to simple, knowing what to say, when to say, and how to say it. So let's get into script practice, right? Why sit down in front of someone? Again, if you are a recruiter, if you're a manager, or whatever it is you are in your space that recruits, you need to know the value of the person across from you, so you better know what to say, right? So I'm a huge script guy. That's number 1. Number 2, know your pond. Who's your pond? Who are you going after? Are you just randomly taking your entire MLS and you're going to put it into a database and you're just going to go A through Z? That's probably not the most efficient or effective approach, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got scripts, we've got know your pond, and then lastly, and who cares? Understand the value of the individual you're recruiting, whether that's from a monetary standpoint or whether that's from a culture or environment standpoint. Because if you want every Tom, Dick, and Harry, I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to work. You need to know who it is you're recruiting and why you're recruiting them, and then you need to go recruit them, right?
Love it. Yeah, and I've always shared when it comes to that third bullet, when it comes to culture, if you share with them exactly what your company does, what you stand for, what you believe in, you'll attract the people that agree with what you're doing. And the people that don't choose to join you, you don't need to take offense because they're simply saying they're not a good fit. Totally. They're deselecting themselves.
Yeah, here's the fun part too, is if you slow down long enough, to write out an actual vision statement. So ours was to become the most attractive and vibrant real estate office in all of Charleston, committed to a model of excellence, right? And so here's what that really broke down to. The attractive part. I had some people come up and say, Adam, you can't just hire hot people. It's like, that's not what I mean, right? That's not what I mean. I'm just not hiring hot people. Attractive. I want to become an attractive environment, right? So we have attractive and then vibrant. Here was fun about our vibrancy is when I took over the office, we had the old school 2000 yellow walls. We had the shitty little carpet that was gross. We changed it, put the grays up. We put some contemporary furniture in there, and this is what we did next. I put Sonos speakers all over the place, literally all over the place. And I told our front desk person, I said, there needs to be music coming out of those at all times. I don't care if it's Tupac. I don't care if it's Dolly Parton. I want music coming out of there, right?
Jam sesh. Yep.
Exactly.
I agree.
And then lastly, we put idea paint on all of our walls. I took down all the stupid art because it was garbage. And I wanted to create an environment that allowed people to literally take their creativity and put it up on the wall and just think chat tank all day. We had it up on the wall. It said think tank. So you have that vision statement and you're able to share it. and understand it and then articulate it, man, you can build your office as big and fast as you want to.
Love it. In my keynote all year last year was culture was the first pillar, and that's key. And everybody hears a lot about culture. So now let's say you get your recruit in. You've had 300 opportunities a month, I think, or what'd you say? A day, a week? How often?
So we generate about 300 leads a month right now.
300 leads a month. Okay. So these people come through. They're like, wow, this is pretty neat. Thank you so much for the tour, Adam. And then they go back to their other brokerage and they kind of lose the momentum. What are some of your best lead conversion strategies once they've come in and kind of passed and said, hey, maybe later, which is like kiss of death, right? It's like a seller saying, oh, well, thank you so much for your time, but we'll get back to you. What are some of your best strategies of dripping those leads, contacting, hosting events? How do you get them back?
So time is never your friend here, right? Never. Time is never your friend. So there was always two things I was either doing in my appointments. Number one, I was either closing you because I felt the time is right, or I was setting for a second appointment. Okay. And that was it. That was without, or if I felt that you were a horrible person, we were done. Right. Or let me rephrase that. Not a culture fit. So that's what we did. And so how did we get them back? Instantly. As soon as I finished my appointment, I had a sheet that I used to fill out. And when I was finished filling that out, I gave it to our director of first impressions. And that instantly told that director of first impressions what drip campaign to put them on inside of Recruiting Bridge. And so as soon as they were done, even before they probably got home, they were already had an inbox message that said, hey, listen, it was great meeting you today. Here was our key points. Man, I look forward to meeting you tomorrow.
Love it. And does Recruiting Bridge offer a potential recruiter all of those drips? Is that already built out?
It's already all built
how do you
out.
delineate what drip you start each person on? What's the difference? Like, would you do it based on brokerage that they're at, volume level, if they're list side, if they're buy side?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it was, I mean, if we go back, let's go back to number two, the pond, knowing what it is and who we're looking for. We would both agree that an agent probably between the $1 million mark and the $5 million mark needs to consistently learn how to lead generate.
Yep.
Right. Anybody from, let's just go 5 million to 12 million or somewhere, let's go a little bit greater than that, needs to understand their money, right? And they need to understand leverage. So those are pretty much the two key components in there that I would walk a recruit down and create pain in both of those spaces. So those were the drips that we would turn on. Hey, I can't wait for our next appointment when I can show you in the lead generation space how to create a 36 touch or a 33 touch or whatever it may be, right? And so that they would feel that value and then they would go back to where they were and they would understand that value wasn't there. And so they were ready for that next appointment because they wanted to grow their business.
So this is a huge takeaway here, you guys. So they created delineation between two camps. Camp number one is the agent wanting to generate more leads. That's your 1 to 5 million person wanting to make their 100 grand a year. Then you get a person who already knows how to generate leads, who doesn't want any more leads. That's somebody that's been in the business a long time, who's doing the $5 to $10 million consistently. What do they need help with? And a lot of people can't solve that problem. And that is creating leverage, investing in other ancillary businesses, helping them build a bigger world. And that's a solution that your market center was able to offer to them and what you teach other places to create that value inside.
Correct. All day long. All day long. And the fun part about that is it's pretty much the same superheater regardless of where you are. It is. Yeah. Because those are the two key elements, in my opinion, that people need the most help with is lead generation and then leverage. And then, of course, understanding your dollars.
Right.
All day long. Yeah.
So what are some ways, let's end on this because I know we're already close to time, but what are some of the best ways to get the lead? So I know that, I hear of like Indeed and people posting to Facebook and social media and asking agents for recruits and having a career night. What are some of the best ways or top ways you've seen people raise their hand and say, hey, I want more information?
So in my opinion, Jeff, I think it's all about your environment. Right. So if you're creating this environment, let's go back to my vision statement, to be the most attractive environment in all of Charleston, right? Or the real estate office in Charleston. Your environment is what will attract leads to you. Because if you're helping enough people inside of your office, they are going to share that organically outside of the office. And then people are going to want to understand what's going on inside of those.
So agents are going to hear about the buzz, like, oh my gosh, the music's going. Totally. They do free soda and coffee. Totally. And Adam's so fun to hang out with and has a great personality, and the trainings are amazing. And
yeah, totally. Leverage that, right? So if you're a recruiter, leverage that environment. If you don't have that environment, you probably better go build it. You better go build that culture. Trainings, leverage your trainings all day long. And if you're not having trainings, you better go build a training calendar. because that's one of the easiest ways to recruit, because right now they're probably not getting the training wherever they are. Otherwise they wouldn't be in your building.
So open up the office. Anybody can go to a training, or at least have one special training a month. Anybody can come to that. Yeah. That's a good one. And events has been good for us too, doing charity events. You can invite past clients, future clients, leads, recruits, friends, family, people that go to your church. Everybody can go to a recruiting event.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All of them. And invite them all.
A charity event.
I understood what you meant. Yeah. So that's what I would do is build out your environment so that it is for the people that are there. When you can build it so it's organic, meaning the leads are flowing to you because the people in there feel enough value that they want other people in there, you're unstoppable. We used to create one, Jeff, that was called the Comma Club. And the Comma Club meant you could only come into the Comma Club if you had a comma in your passive income. And so everybody in our office would get these stickers. And there were stickers that they would put on their doors, and all they were was a big old comma. And then we had T-shirts made that were nothing but a big comma.
That's really easy. 1,000 a year.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you got. That's all you got to be able to do.
And then once a month, I would invite people over to my house, or I'd have them in the training rooms, and we would have people Zoom in that were huge wealth builders, and we would just talk shop, talk wealth, talk money. And when we started that, we had about 4 people in the Comma Club. When I left 4 years later, roughly, we had 38 people in that Comma Club.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
So how does that help other people come in?
If somebody listening wants some help, would like to hire you for some of that recruiting coaching, wants to just learn a little bit more, do you have like a demo call or a site you'd point them to?
Sure, all day long. I can give you my cell phone. I can give you my email address. So we can go to iloverecruiting.com. Again, that
you get 10,000 downloads a month, so you might not want to give your cell phone or your email address. iloverecruiting.com. There you go.
Yeah, go to iloverecruiting.com, and if it's not live yet, give it about 24, 48, 72 hours. It'll be live. And you can fill out the form there, and we'll reach back out to you, and we'll get you set up.
Awesome. And we'd like to invite any of Adam's followers that are watching on your end of things as you guys promote as well. We host workshops in Omaha almost every other month. So Omaha, Nebraska, it's a full day event. Day 2 is investing. Day 1 is team building. And you can go out to eliterealestatesystems.com, click on events. You'll see our March and May dates. And then we also host an annual event called the Team Building Summit. Adam, we can talk off record a little bit about getting you out to talk about recruiting at our event. I think that would be awesome. We have a ton of thought leaders coming. It's all about building teams. It's the only event of its kind that's team specific. So we invite brokers and team leaders. We expect to have a couple hundred people. And then I'm speaking all over the country this year. So I'm going to be releasing a speaking calendar soon. So if I'm close to your neck of the woods, we obviously would invite anyone to come and attend any of our breakout sessions. I was just in New York last week. I'm at Family Reunion in Dallas this week. And then I'm at Boomtown Unite April 1st through the 4th. So I'm going to be in Adam's neck of the woods over in Charleston. Looking forward to that. But if you guys could, we're trying to get to 1,000 reviews on iTunes. We're at 111 right now. So if you could go give a shout out to Adam Roach and all the value you got off of this hangout today, just go to iTunes, click 5 stars. People always have trouble finding this. You got to scroll down. So when you click on review, you scroll down, you'll find the 5-star, and then just leave like a 2 or 3 sentences of one of our past guests or of Adam, wherever you've gotten the most amount of value from the Team Building Podcast.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode of the Team Building Podcast.
Thanks, Jeff.